Hi, I'm Lebo Tshangela, and this is the 10th edition of the series Frontline Workers, where we talk to courageous essential workers who risk their lives daily to provide important services to the general public. It's the second week of Level 3 lockdown, and teachers have joined the list of essential workers after schools opened today for grade 7 and grade 12 learners, except for the Western Cape, which opened schools last week Monday. Other grades will be phased in from July 6 to August 3. Schools closed on March 18 in a bid to slow down the spread of coronavirus after President Cyril Ramaphosa declared the outbreak of COVID-19 as a national state of disaster in terms of the Disaster Management Act. The nationwide lockdown was then effected on March 27. Coming up in this edition of Frontline Workers.
At the stage, it got me a little bit depressed because of all the news, and you feel like you have responsibility. Not you feel like it is that you have responsibility towards your learners, and you can't physically get to them. When I heard that we are going back to school, I was very excited to be able to go back and to start planning for what is the left of the year. I think the biggest challenge at the moment is for me is to constantly be reminded of to sanitize and to do the whole protocol.
A teacher from the Western Cape who has chosen to remain anonymous tells me what he goes through as a frontline worker. He has been an educator for 5 years and teaches grade 8 economics and management sciences and grade 11 and 12 life orientation. Anonymous tells me how he spent level 5 and 4 of lockdown at home.
For me, on this long break, because I am someone that needs to stay busy, it's very difficult for me to do nothing, just to sit there at home. But very quickly it got to me, and then I took a bit of initiative and started WhatsApp groups and started to teach using WhatsApp with work that they had to do in term 1, and then I've started a little bit on term two's work. So I was the whole time busy, and then I worked for the department also to teach, not to teach, to train colleagues how to use WhatsApp as a teaching mechanism. And then also, partnering with, not partnering, reaching out to partners, to possible partners to help us, our learners, in ways that to make their lives easier in this time. So basically, it was just figuring out the new norm for us and to be ready to get myself ready for school, in whatever way school will be now, just to prepare myself, with technology and joining webinars and how to upskill myself. I've done that also, in how to use ICT and in the classroom. So those are the things that I've been busy with in the lockdown. At the stage, it got me a little bit depressed because of all the news, and you feel like you have responsibility. Not you feel like it is that you have responsibility towards your learners, and you can't physically get to them. And then I've sent videos out to them. I recorded myself and just to put them at ease. So yeah, that's what I've been up to, and that is a lockdown gave me the opportunity to reflect on my teaching methodologies and how I can improve on that, and how I can maybe just replace some of the old habits and ways of teaching to the new ways.
Thousands of teachers returned to work 2 weeks ago, despite unions being resistant to schools reopening. They say the lives of learners and teachers are being put at risk. Anonymous tells us what it feels like to be back at school.
When I heard that we are going back to school, I was very excited to be able to go back and to start planning for what is the left of the year and to put things in place. Yeah, I was very excited to start. but also very cautious. I felt good when I heard that we will be going back, because really I couldn't sit for that long anymore. That's me, honestly. I mean, so many people might feel differently. Be feeling afraid. Some of them might be having comorbidities, which is to understood. But then when I got to school, my principal made me feel very safe. And with all the guidelines that were sent through by the Western Cape Education Department, going through all of those things, I felt safer. And also now being at school, I feel safe because of everything is put in place. We sanitize and we wash our hands, and our learners are being orientated very well. So we are all buying into the whole COVID-19 way of reducing the risk of spreading the virus. So no, I feel very, very safe at school, but I'm not ignorant.
Education expert Professor Jonathan Jansen advised that the 2020 academic year be called off due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Jansen suggested that schools promote grade 1 to grade 11 learners to the next grades, but have a catch-up plan in place. Anonymous somewhat has the same view.
Personally, and this is in my personal capacity, not as a teacher, not as a staff member of my school, or an employee of the Western Cape Education Department. This is just me personally saying that, taking into consideration the numbers that's growing in the Western Cape and in other provinces, maybe also, but because we are, I almost want to say, a hotspot. I think at the beginning I said to myself, like when this all started, when the numbers even started to rise, when we were even at 21 cases, I was like, no, it's fine, let's go back. And then later on, the numbers increased dramatically, and then I was like, no, let's scrap this year and start over next year, because we've only had a first term, we've done assessments, but let's scrap it, because the grade 12s, you can't really say that they've had their grade 12 year yet. So I was of the opinion, let's start next year fresh. But then looking at what's going on and how the numbers are increasing, we don't even know how next year's gonna look like. So, and we don't know for how long COVID-19 is gonna be with us.
Teachers across the country returned to work despite some of them expressing fears of how their safety is going to be prioritized, and they are complaining that the personal protective equipment delivered to their schools isn't sufficient.
Grade 8 till 12 teachers all reported back to school. The grade 8 teachers, or the other teachers at school, they help us with the screening processes and all the admin that goes um with the with the whole, yeah, screening and social distancing. They are on break duty whenever we need a teacher to just help us to do some copies or to staple things. They help us with that. I know some of my grade 12 colleagues also are some of the other colleagues that's not teaching, maybe teaching grade 11, to just assist with the grade 12s. So, yeah, in getting the notes prepared. And I know the other grade 8 teachers and 9 teachers are prepping for when those learners are coming back. Just getting their stuff together. Well, they can't really prepare in detail because the curriculum was trimmed, and those revised curriculums, oh yeah, the revised ones are not out yet. So after that, then they can then say, okay, but now they are ready. So yeah, that's what they are doing at school. They are actually just helping us where we need assistance.
The Department of Basic Education says the National School Nutrition Program was reopened for all learners and all food handlers were supplied with the required PPEs, including gloves, aprons, and cloth masks. Anonymous says school can serve as an escape for learners.
I feel schools is always a good place to start doing something, and taking into consideration our learners that are hungry at home, that schools and with the feeding schemes at schools providing meals to our learners, that is where my heart goes. And in this lockdown, we still on the level 3, knowing that your learner or your child are being fed at school, I think might take a lot of pressure off parents. At least they can come to school and their minds are being taken off of what is on at home. I've heard one of the learners at a different school saying that he can see how his parents are stressing and it works on him and he can't take it anymore. So at least for now they are at school or grade 12s, and the others might be coming back to school. I don't know how. I'm a bit frightened when I think about more learners coming to school. But at least they can engage with each other, having conversation and share in each other's concerns. But now they don't have to. They're not so much exposed to maybe domestic violence at home. I feel school is an escape for them to just be with others, even though they are not being so social anymore.
The steps that have been outlined by the department to prevent the spread of coronavirus is that every school must have sufficient hand sanitizers, facilities for washing hands, and the cleaning of surfaces and equipment is mandatory. Any person who enters any school must be screened for symptoms of coronavirus.
In terms of PPE, I can't really give a full description of what we have received and what not. We have hand sanitizers that we have received from the department. We have bleach. We have I think it's a soap type of it's a soap thing, yeah. It's a liquid that we have. I think that's about it. That I personally know of. That we need to use. I'm not aware of our cleaners, how what they have, but they do have their own normal protective gear that they are using. And we have all the spray bottles that we need to use to sanitize and yeah, towels to wipe off the discs. And yeah, we have everything in place at our school. Our learners, the grade 12s, all the classes, they are currently not moving up and down. So they are sitting, the teachers are moving up and down just to prevent the spread or the risk of spreading the virus. So we are going to the classes, they are sitting there. And when they go on a break, they go out, we sanitize the desks. They come in after break to class, the desks are sanitized. Then we sanitize their hands again. So at the end of every school day, the whole class is being sanitized. It's been cleaned and it's being sanitized. The desks are sanitized. Yeah, that's how we do it. So every day when they come into the class, then it smells fresh and it has been sanitized when they left. There is someone that at the men's and the ladies' bathrooms that is monitoring them going in. They can only go in a few at a time. That person is monitoring that. Once they enter the bathroom, they will be sanitizer will be sprayed onto their hands, and then they'll wash their hands inside. They'll come out, and then the person sanitize again. We don't during lesson times don't send out a lot of learners. We send them out one by one, and as they exit the classroom, we sanitize. When they enter the classroom, we sanitize again. So yeah.
The social distancing guidelines stipulates physical distances in classrooms and includes not more than two learners sharing a desk. No hugging, handshaking, and direct contact must be avoided, and cloth masks to be worn by learners and teachers at all times. Anonymous says they're observing social distancing at the school.
Majority of our students are back, our grade 12s. They are at school. We are exercising physical social distancing. We are doing that. It is possible for us now as a school to do it with our grade 12s. They are not sitting in desks next to each other, like two per desk. They are sitting in singular desks apart from each other with in the regulations of the WCED that is stipulated in there. So we are exercising social distancing in the classroom and also when they're outside entering the classroom.
The British Psychological Society says, understandably, any child returning to school after lockdown may experience a range of emotions from feeling happy, excited, and relieved to be back, to feeling anxious, afraid, or angry. Anonymous says his learners seem to be coping.
They do concentrate and because what we are currently doing is just doing orientation, and they do take it seriously. They do listen attentively to us, and they are really buying into what is going on and how we are orientating them. With regards to, we haven't really started to teach that much, but while doing presentations and explaining things to them, they are listening attentively because they know and understand that this is a very, very dangerous times.
All extramural events at school, including sport, choral estate or choral rehearsals, arts, and other cultural festivals, remain suspended until determined by the Minister after consultation with the Cabinet and the National COVID-19 Command Council.
There are no sports and extramural activities taking place as set out by the department, so none whatsoever. Okay, so I am driving alone to work. I don't make use of public transport. And none of my colleagues are making use of public transport. I know only three of my colleagues are walking to school because they live near school. We are not making use of textbooks unless each learner has got their own textbook that they already have with them. Sometimes, most of the times, we share books in class, but that is prohibited. We are no longer sharing textbooks amongst learners, amongst classes. So we are drawing up the notes, and then we give the notes to them, core notes. So, according to our cleaning and hygiene policy at school that we've drafted for COVID 19, they are not allowed to share pens. They are not allowed to put their pens in their mouths. There's no way to regulate that, but that has been brought under their attention that they are not allowed to share their utensils amongst each other in the classroom. When they came back on Monday, we've given them a brand new pen, and which was sanitized, and that none of them can say what they don't have, so they're not allowed to share pens amongst each other.
Anonymous says keeping the guidelines remains a challenge for him and that they are receiving support.
I think the biggest challenge at the moment is for me is to constantly be reminded of to sanitize and to do the whole protocol. That's the only challenge for me. I take this in light, in good spirit. I take this in good spirit. I take it in that light that, we need to be safe and practice good hygiene at all times. So that's the biggest challenge for me at the moment, is to constantly stick to the protocol, because you sometimes do forget to sanitize, and then learners will show you stuff, but you need to lead by example. But other than that, should we have any challenges, I think the guidelines are already plain and simple. It is set out in as WCED sent to us. We know what to do in whatever instance, and should we should we not have an answer, then my principal will definitely find out and inform us what to do. So definitely from the circuit managers and the principal. We've had concerns about teachers have concerns about comorbidities, who had comorbidities, and the circuit manager was there to talk to us. So definitely the support is there from the principal and the circuit manager.
For the next edition of Frontline Workers, you can visit sabcnews.com or at SABC News on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. For SABC Digital News, I'm Lebo Tshangela.